Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Tom here from Pizarro's Pieces. As always, this is the Monday night live stream. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube through the Pizarro's Pieces channel. We have a very, very special guest tonight, guys. I'm really, really excited. Now, guys, as always, I have to let you know, this is live. Anything can happen. We can't control the internet. Shit happens, basically. And obviously, this is an adult-themed show. We always like to let you know that because there could be bad language. So, without further ado, as always, I'd like to bring in my right-hand man, my co-host for the evening, Mr. Big C.
Big C?
What's happening with the hat, mate?
I thought I'd tone it down. Listen, it's not about me tonight. It's about the massive, massive guest we've got tonight. And it's all about representing. I don't want to take the thing away from the T-shirt. It's all about...
both got the same one on, haven't we? Yeah.
Look, great friend of the live streams, great friend of the show. Does nothing but support us. So we thought we'd represent Theo tonight, Mr. Slimehouse. So, yeah.
Mr. Slimehouse, a lovely T-shirt.
I haven't taken mine off
since up getting them.
I haven't taken mine off since last week, since we got it. And of course, it's now starting to smell. But I can't take it off. So, here we go.
Now, Big C, I know you're super
fan.
super excited. Super fan. You've been following this guy's channel for about
4 years, 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've got to give him a massive thank you as well, because he was kind of like the inspiration behind my own channel. So we're going to bring him in. We've got David from Toy Polloi.
Hello.
Welcome,
Dave.
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Pleasure to have you here.
And always, I have to say thank you. Massive pleasure to have you. As always, I have to say thank you for taking your time out to come on the live stream. Now, for anyone who's watching, this is the first time Toy Polloi has done a live stream. So I'm delighted that he has decided to join Pizarro's Pieces and Mr. Big C, myself, Tom, and Mr. Big C for a live chat. We're obviously going to talk to you in a little while, Dave, about the collecting and the 80s and the 70s even, and obviously your fantastic YouTube channel. But as always, guys, we love to do where is it? There it is. Look, the competition time. Free giveaway. Yeah. Competition time. You know how it works. I like to give stuff away. That's how we do it on this show. Now we're actually giving two prizes. They're actually 2 prizes made up of several items. We're going to be giving them away tonight. But you will have to know about Toy Polloi. You would have to have watched Toy Polloi's channel. You have to know about Dave and what Dave does on his. You do. You need to.
If you haven't watched Toy Polloi, where have you been? Where have you been? You know, everyone must be watching.
There you go. Big pillar in the community, in the toy community. I'm going to show the prizes. No, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll show the prize for the first question and then the prize for the second question. And then our fabulous guest, Dave, can do the question.
Give us the question.
And we will announce the winners. Now, these answers will be based on the first person to answer correctly. And then obviously I can see YouTube and Facebook comments. They're coming in live time on my laptop and my iPad. I can see them in live time. So whoever
it's fingers on the buzzer
correctly answers the question. Fingers on the buzzer. Exactly. Fingers on the buzzer. Here we go. Here's the first prize. What we got here? 390 Star Wars toys. Sorry about the reflection. We've got R2-D2, Tusken Raider, and who's that one there? Hoth Rebel Soldier. There you go. They got 3. That's one of the prizes. The second prize involves Star Wars again and involves figures. There's actually 4 on this one. We've got a pit droid from episode 1. We've got Mr. Samuel L. Jackson from episode 1, Mace Windu. We have got R2-D2. And we have got Nut Gunray. Am I saying that right, Dave? You know I'm not big on Star Wars.
I think it's Newt, isn't it? Or something.
Newt, yeah. N-U-T-E Gunray. So that's the other prize.
Tom, you're giving away a lot of stuff there. You feeling all right?
He needs a space.
I'm not. No comment. No comment. So there is a lot of comments already on the screen coming up. As always, as well, people, I will get through the comments, and if you've got any questions for Dave, feel free to fire them. Now, me and Big C have decided this, ain't we, Crystal? We're not going to use. We had our little thing last week, but we're gonna do this every other week on the show.
I found the
telephone call in every other week.
I found the phone last week, Tom, very disruptive. Didn't you? It was cutting us all off. The phone would ring and the whole thing would stop. And we'd take a phone call and it was,
I found it quite amusing. It reminded me of Saturday Swap Shop.
Yeah. What we're trying to do, Dave, is we're trying to make it like it's like a basement radio show, a bit like a heart breakfast, something like that.
Right, yeah.
So let's get through these competition questions. So Dave, if you wouldn't mind asking the first question. Like I said, everyone who's watching, you need to watch Toy Polloi. You probably won't know the answers to either of these questions unless you watch the channel. So Dave, what's the first question? And like we said, it's fingers on the buzzer. First person to comment right wins prize one. And then we'll do the second question and it's the same. And I'll leave it open and we'll announce the winner at the end. So fire away, Dave.
Okay, well, in my videos, I do a lot of cleaning of toys, and I have a sort of a phrase that I say when I'm going to go and clean the toys. It's a 3-word phrase, and what is that?
Lovely.
Oh, there you go. And
lovely.
Lovely. And then the second question.
The second question is, you'll see in my channel quite regularly, I have a sort of a favourite action man who's dressed up in Toy Polloi gear like this, and he has a name. What is this guy's name? And I do mention it quite often in my videos. So what is this action man called?
I've seen the answers rolling through already.
Anyone who watches Toy Polloi is going to know those answers. That's going to be, they're going to be really easy answers. If you don't watch it, it's going to be impossible to get the right answers.
Well, it proves that some of my fans have come over to see me chat with you guys tonight. So it's nice that people are obviously, have come here to say hello to everyone, which is really good.
Like Tom said, they've been a big fan. Obviously, I know that you've done some Q&A stuff and people can send questions in and you've done videos and things like that answering some of the questions. But imagine some of your fans are jumping at the chance to see you in this live setting. So it's an honour that you've done it with us and you've never done it before.
It's interesting. It's not something I'd ever sort of particularly plan to do. As I said to you earlier, really Toy Polloi is about the toys. I never really wanted it to be about me. I don't feel I have a face for TV or anything like that. I'm
rubbish.
My hands are what the important part of me is the hands. So it was the whole point of Toy Polloi was really it's about the toys. I'm just a voice in the background. So I try my hardest not to appear that often. I know people like to see me and they like to sort of have a look what I look like, because a lot of people say I don't look like what they expect me to look like. Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I try not to make it about me.
Dave, can I just say, with your soft, subtle voice and your educated voice, you to me are almost like the David Attenborough. What David Attenborough is to wildlife, you are to the toy community. That's the sort of, as a narrator, that's what you bring.
I'll take that. Although I don't believe I have a sort of a particularly posh voice. A lot of people say I have a posh voice. It's just a London accent. I think just compared to other people on YouTube, and most toy people seem to be like louder American sort of people. Whereas a softly spoken Englishman,
or scumbags like me and Tom.
As we were discussing earlier, you come from pretty near where I grew up. So
exactly.
You have a similar voice. So I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened there, Dave. Yeah.
The wrong side of the river. I think it's the wrong side.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, you're north of the river after Kingston. So I think that's why you've got that tone. So
it must be.
We've had tons of comments come through already. So we'll announce the winners at the end of the show, but obviously some people can see the stream. But like I said, remember we are across Facebook and YouTube, so that is combined. So if you're watching on YouTube, there may have been someone who commented quicker on Facebook. I'm seeing everything in live time. So we do have 2 winners already. Because obviously I do know the answers because we discussed it briefly before the show. So that is fantastic. Now
I thought he might be a harder question that people wouldn't have paid attention to.
No, you've got there's some funny answers coming up. I can see some funny answers coming up. I can see as well there's some disappointment, Big C, with your hat choice tonight.
I was, look, I knew that was going to be the case. I've let people down, but I thought, you can't keep escalating it because, like I said last week, eventually it would end up with a situation. I'd end up having to start wearing, live animals and things like that. And yeah, I've got to save some of the hats for later episodes. So I thought I'd tone it down for Dave.
No, of course. Now, for anyone watching on YouTube, we always say it as well. Don't forget to like the video, comment, get your questions in. If you've got any questions for Dave, it's fantastic because the phone line is closed tonight, so we will be taking questions through the chat. Now, Dave, whenever I get anyone on, the first thing I always ask them, and as well, a lot of people that watch your channel, although they know what you do within your channel, everything, don't necessarily know too much in regards to your collecting background. We always like to ask everyone about their collecting with regards to toys, and where did it all begin for yourself, and kind of how did you get into it?
Well, as a kid, I had toys, obviously, and then about, I'd say, sort of 15, 16, something like that, I sold most of them because I got into computers and remote control cars. So I sold all of the stuff I'd grown up with. And then I would say I was sort of 19, 20 and got my first job. My day job is I'm a computer graphics artist in games. So, quite a toy related sort of industry. And so I got a flat with my partner, and I just sort of started getting back into toys, I guess because I had disposable income. And I think the first sort of thing I really bought was we went out with some friends and stayed overnight. And the next day, like a Sunday, so we went to a car boot sale. Why not? And at that car boot sale, I found an ATST, which you can see a couple of them just behind me here. And I'd always wanted an ATST as a kid. I'd never had one. And so I saw this at the car boot. It was a fiver. It was missing pieces. I grabbed it because it was that sort of childhood thing that I'd always wanted. So I bought that, and walking around the rest of the car boot, I think I bought a Biker Scout for 5p as well. And that's really, from there, it sort of snowballed into, I just got back into toys. And, some of the offices I worked in would have sort of various toys around, or other people would have toys, and it just sort of rekindled my love for them. And so, that was 1920. I'm now nearly 50, so it's almost 27 years later. This is what's happened, and this is not it. There's stuff up in the loft because I don't have a big enough room to sort of display it all. And I was always, I think, because of when I was growing up, I never had that many new toys. So I was, like jumble sale toys. So I'd get stuff and I'd fix it up. If I got a Batman, I'd make a cape for it because the cape would always be missing. And so I just sort of carried that on into my toy collecting. I've always been a bit of a tight collector. I don't like spending money on toys. If I can buy something for £1 and it's perfectly fine, I can fix it, I'll do that. Because if I buy it for £50, I won't enjoy it. So my entire collection is just cheap stuff, because I know I'll buy it and I'll mend it or I'll do my own thing with it, and I will get my enjoyment from it that way rather than other things. And so that's my entire collection is like that. Is I very rarely spend a lot of money on things, but it means I can have a lot of things because nothing's cost me anything.
Well, Dave, you can buy the most beat up stuff and turn them into brand new items anyway, can't you? So you've got a big advantage over most collectors.
Yeah, I guess that's probably. I'm going to blame my dad for that. Growing up, we used to do Airfix kits and things, and he was an avid modeler and like made remote control cars and made boats. Like our first remote control boat, both me and my brother had remote control boats that my dad made, and they were driven by Smurfs. He'd bought some Smurfs and like cut the legs off and stuck them on the boat. So we had these sort of homemade boats, and so I just learned from him, if things were broken, you'd fix it, or you'd make your own thing, or especially if you don't have a toy of something, why don't you make your own? There's nothing wrong with making your own stuff and doing it, and I still do that today. In fact, I did one this week. I wanted a bigger Zeolite cube from Terrahawks, so I made it because no one else will make it. and it's a sort of everything in this is the sort of thing my dad would have sort of been quite pleased that I'd done. You know, I can switch his lights on. He's got little light up eyes. So
that's fantastic.
It's for me, Dave. You're one of your biggest skills as well. It isn't just the ability to paint something and make it look better, or fix some limbs on things like that. It's the actual, you know, the way that you can improvise and you can use. There was a He-Man figure. Who's the He-Man guy? He's the blue one. He's the robot one. Cyclo or someone.
Oh, Cyclone. Yeah.
And you used O-rings for the bits on the sleeve.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was Cyclone.
It's just little things like that. It's just you haven't necessarily got to find parts and recondition them. You're actually putting together completely different things and using them in the figures.
I think again, that's a big thing that I sort of wanted to do from the start of running Toy Polloi. Is I watched other people's like restoration videos, and a lot of the time it's like, well, I've got this broken thing, so I found another broken one, or I bought a really expensive part and I've swapped it out. There you go, it's fixed. And I always think, well, like most people aren't going to be able to find the second part, or don't want to spend, you know, like parts for some vehicles are ridiculously expensive. So why would you want to spend that when you might as well try and make it yourself? Or there's another way of doing it. So I want my repairs to be the things that everybody can have a go at, rather than limiting it to you know, oh, you've got to go and find this, or you've got to go and find that. I think you can make good representations of stuff with everyday items, and it's just about thinking a little bit sort of laterally. And that's so, yeah, that was the whole point of doing the channel, is making fixes that other people can copy, and not limiting it. And yeah, because especially like if you're fixing Star Wars vehicles and you've got a broken bit, you end up spending more than you spent on the entire toy to buy
the parts,
one piece of it. It's nuts. That's just not. Most people won't do that. So if you can do it cheaply and inventively, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to show.
Brilliant.
That's what one of my next questions was going to be with regards to the channel was how did it become to start? But you kind of just organically just mentioned it.
Yeah, it's the real reason it started was actually a friend of my partner's. A boyfriend of hers came round, who happened to be James Bruton, who runs the YouTube channel X Robots, where he builds robots and stuff like that. His channel's huge now. I think he's got, he's up to sort of 700,000 subscribers. He does amazing stuff. But he came over, and I showed him my toy room, and I showed him my sort of what I fix and stuff. And he goes, "Why don't you start a YouTube channel? People would be interested in what you do." And I'd never really thought about that before. So he sort of said, just do it, and I did, and that was 7 and a bit years ago now. So I blame him for actually starting up the channel. Otherwise I would just still be doing this for myself, because I fix toys anyway.
It's a really inspiring channel, isn't it? It's one of them YouTube channels that it's educational. People can watch your videos, and then we can all go out there and have a go, at sort of repairing and sort of trying to recondition old figures and stuff.
I want 99% of people who see one of my videos to think I can have a go at that, rather than 1% of them going, oh, I could do it. Like I get a lot of people asking me, why don't I get a 3D printer? And a 3D printer would be amazing, but if I started 3D printing bits to repair toys, then that cuts off like a big chunk of my audience, because only a few people have 3D printers. And it would also get a bit boring of just me showing a 3D printer printing things, whereas me taking some bits of plastic or some bits of Lego, cutting them up and making something, gives people an idea of what they can actually do without having however much a 3D printer costs. I don't know, £500 or whatever.
I've tried to be inspired, Dave, but I've just ended up with piles of broken action figures. I just haven't got the skill level to do what you do. So
you know what? I have piles of broken action figures here, because sometimes things go wrong. That is, and you learn by your mistakes. That is part of fixing. In fact, I was fixing a toy yesterday, which I'd never fixed before, a rare Japanese Thunderbirds vehicle. And I broke it 3 times while I was and I filmed it also. I'm going to put all of those in. Everything I did broke, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. But I did fix it in the end, but I learned along the way by breaking it even more how to mend it. So you will always have piles of broken figures around if you fix toys. Things go wrong. you learn to accept that.
Good stuff. No, a lot of people who are watching, obviously, who follow my channel as well, wouldn't realise this, and we were discussing it beforehand. Is that, obviously, myself, I've been on YouTube just over 4 years now, but it was yourself, Dave, who obviously helped me get going as such. I still use obviously the software, as mentioned, the software that you recommended to me. When I look back now, like I say, I think the software is definitely for a higher caliber YouTuber than someone like myself. But I've carried on using it. I've been using it for the last 4 years. So a massive thank you on that. So before I go to any comments or questions, there's one other little thing on, because obviously you're quite successful. Did you ever think you'd get to, what are you at now? Is it 44K you're at?
I think I've just passed 44,000 subscribers.
Wow.
No, to be honest, no. I was when I first started, I was thinking, this is a niche channel, and it's still, let's face it, it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it still is a niche channel. But I would have been happy with sort of 1,000, and it's taken me 7.5 years to get to this level. And I say the first 3 years, I probably had under 5,000 subscribers, but I still carried on doing it just because I enjoyed it. And then I had a couple of other channels sort of mention me, and that sort of gives you a massive boost all of a sudden. A guy who runs things called Bare Metal Hot Wheels. He runs this, he fixes up Hot Wheels cars, and I think he mentioned me in one of his videos. And I went to bed, and I was excited because I think I was getting to about 11,000 subscribers, and I was thinking, the next day I'll wake up, I'll be at 11,000 subscribers. I woke up the next day, and I was like at 18,000 subscribers. Like,
wow.
hang on, what's happened overnight? And it took me ages to work out what had happened. So, yeah, I didn't expect it to get this popular, and it's nice that it is this popular. And at this rate, this year I might hit 50,000 subscribers. After that, who knows? I don't know. I've still got plenty of toys to fix, so I'll keep doing videos.
Fantastic.
It's
fantastic achievement.
Cheers.
Let's have a look. Let's see who we've got in the chat tonight.
Stormy T.
Evening. Dark Lycan, Mr. Baz, we've got. Colin Wicks, evening.
Good evening, Colin.
Pete, good evening.
Good evening.
PJ Westy, one of our previous winners. Good evening. I'm not gonna bring up comments with regards to answers to the questions, because obviously, we'll end up being here. We'll be here all night. So, Carlos, good evening. How you doing?
Good evening.
I am Nadav. Evening. Another previous winner of the competition. Alan Hamilton. Evening.
Oh, good evening, Alan. Alan's a friend of mine. I write for a magazine called Fusion Retro Gaming, and Alan is the editor of that. So I know Alan well, and so yeah.
Good evening, Alan.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. Another previous winner. We just got previous winners.
Do you know what it means, Tom? At least the winners are coming back. It's not like they're not taking their prizes and running. They're coming back. They
want more.
They want more. Yeah.
That's it. Frank, how you doing? Tats and Tours, Rob. Hello, my lovely jubblies. Evening. Evening, Nick.
Evening, Nick.
Evening, another Nick. We've got two Nicks. Evening, Rich. How you doing? Scott's Comics and Collectibles, another friend of the show, is going to be joining us for next Monday.
Is it next week?
It's next Monday, yeah. A week today. And I will show the prizes that we were going to be giving away during the show. And it's probably going to piss Scott off a little bit, and I'll explain why later. not in a bad thing, because it's one of his focuses, and I don't actually know if he's got these. So he cannot obviously enter the competition.
Scott's got everything. He's prolific. I don't believe there's anything he hasn't got.
Evening, Vintage Tour Rush. Evening, David. How you doing?
Evening.
Tony McDermott. Evening. Still cool hat, Big C.
Thanks, Carlos. Thanks.
Dave Blades in the building. Evening, mate.
Evening, Dave.
I think we're going to have some questions coming up.
Enrique, your man,
Creative Banther.
Enrique, yeah.
That's it, yeah. Evening, boys. Got mine last week too. I'm not entirely sure. You get
T-shirt.
Oh, of course, yes, yep, the T-shirt. Theo,
representing
Mr. Slimehouse TV. Yep. Oh yeah. The next comment is that I got my Slimehouse T-shirt. David World Toys, welcome to the chat. For them, I made it to watch live. Good evening.
Yeah,
good evening.
I noticed. He wasn't around last week. He's normally one of our regulars.
Mm.
Yeah, he's a regular subscriber of mine as well.
Yeah.
Michael Kozak, is that how you pronounce it? The master is in. Hello, Dave. There you go.
He is
one
the
of your
master.
guys.
He is the master.
Brad is here. Good evening. Nick, hey,
Hey,
you
Nick.
guys. Alan's just saying good evening, Dave, as well. What does Toy Polloi collect? There we go. We've got our first question of
That's a
the
good
night.
question.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm a person who collects a bit of everything. I would say my core collection is Star Wars, Transformers, and Action Man, with a bit of Masters of the Universe, mainly if it's Skeletor, and then loads of Japanese toys. You can see behind me, this is all sort of Henshin cyborgs, and then loads of little things, little odd toy lines that I remember having as a kid. So things like penny racers. Just a bit of everything. If I had it as a child, or I wanted it as a child, it's probably in my collection now. There's very, but yeah, it's a random selection of what I grew up with, or what I was desperate to get out of the Argos catalogue. That sort of.
Yeah, I see. Dave, could you narrow it down? Is there if you had to pick one toy line as your number one, could you do that, or would that be difficult?
I don't know. It goes in phases because it depends what I'm into at the moment. Like I would have said, mainly Star Wars, but I think I've sort of finished Star Wars now, although I'm still fixing things. I've got everything I wanted for Star Wars. And then like Action Man, I've got big into a couple of years ago, which I never thought I'd get back into. So I really got into Action Man.
I'm into Action Man nowadays.
Yeah, good.
But I'm into the 90s stuff, Dave. You know, the early 90s stuff. Yeah, that most real Action Man collectors hate. Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Ooh. The stuff I always give back to the charity shop when I get
yeah. You can't give the stuff away nowadays, can you? But I do like that stuff.
Oh, David, Rich, go on. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Yeah, it'd be very hard to narrow down what I like. What at the moment I've got. It's just a bit of everything. I flip between what is my favourite, toy line. Today, yesterday I was fixing Thunderbird toys. The day before I was making a Terrorhawks cube, and then last week I was doing Masters of the Universe stuff. I really liked it working on Masters of the Universe toys at the moment. So
yeah, you're doing a lot of reviews as well, Dave, aren't you? On the new Origins line and stuff they're bringing out.
I'm quite enjoying those. They're not great, but they're nice. I still prefer the vintage stuff. I think the vintage stuff is, it has a real charm. It's got a real charm to it, and it's a lovable sort of toy line. The new stuff is good, but old stuff is always better.
Because you're a He-Man, Tom, aren't you?
They don't make
you're
it as well.
He-Man.
They don't make them like they did in the 80s.
No.
Obviously, big.
No, I saw one of your reviews, Dave, and one of the ladies didn't their arms start rubbing?
Yeah, terrible. In fact, I've gone to the point I've bought myself another one because I was so annoyed that I broke the first one. There's something about the plastic that modern toys are made of. The plastic on Teela's arms is really soft, and so if you bend it in the wrong way, which is what I did as soon as I got it out of the box, you can cut a big chunk out of her arm using her sort of her shoulder. It's just bad. I'm not saying it's bad design. I think it's bad quality control on the plastics that are used. I'm sure there are rules and regulations now that we never used to have. Like back when I was growing up, 70s, 80s, toys, I bet they were a lot less careful about what went into them and what went into the plastics, whereas now the plastics have to be child friendly and all of that sort of thing. So it's most likely down to that. But it does mean that you have to. I think modern toys generally are pretty rubbish and pretty not designed to last. Not like Action Man. This Action Man's been through the wars. He's still going 40 years later.
Yeah. And same with He-Man. I mean, He-Man's a couple of years off being 40 years old, and you can't imagine the new releases now will be around in 40 years.
No. In fact, when I was reviewing those new ones, the fact, it's quite a nice idea. You can pull the arms off to change them, but that just means, like in a year's time, when you go down the car boots and the flea markets and toy fairs, all you'll do is you'll be finding those figures missing their arms, and so you'll have loads of them with those bits missing because they'll have gone. And it's a nice idea, but the practicalities of it regards toys that what you want kids to play with. A toy that a kid should play with shouldn't break and shouldn't have things like that fall off it. And that's what He-Man figures are like. I think the most indestructible toy ever is Fisher-Price Adventure People. I have never seen one of those in pieces. They are just indestructible. Do
we think the modern He-Man stuff like the Origins and that though? Do we not think it's more based at people like ourselves, guys in their 30s and 40s, rather than children. Hence why
Just have them on a shelf.
And they look,
just posed on a shelf rather than.
Yeah, they look
Yeah,
fantastic,
no,
but like you said, Dave, they're garbage, aren't they? They don't
Yeah,
particularly last
definitely.
if you play with them.
That you can tell actually just from the packaging, this is designed for someone to buy it and never open it, because it's that nostalgia factor in the way it's packaged and everything about it, you know, the comic behind it. I think they assume most people will buy it, stick it on a shelf, and that's it. And you know, but I also think with modern toys, they just care that it's bought. Once it's bought and a kid's got it, if it breaks within a day, I think they assume most children's attention span with toys these days is pretty limited. It's not like us when we were growing up. You know, you'd have a toy, it would last years because there was no computers to distract you. There's nothing to sort of do apart from play with toys. So they would last a long time. Now, kids play with toys for a few months at best before they're bored, or they get bought another one. And so I don't think they have to last like they used to. It's just the modern way. You know, as far as I can sort of see it.
No, definitely, I agree with you on that one. Richard said Dave is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of toy repairs.
Definitely.
It's better that I suppose that makes a change from being called the Bob Ross of toy repairs, which is the other one. The fuzzy hair. So yeah.
The painter dude, yeah. Ken's
Good evening, Ken. Good evening, Ken.
We've got Dude. Just Dude.
Good evening, dude.
Yeah.
Good evening, dude.
Oh, so yeah, there you go. What doesn't he collect? That's what Nick said in regards to David's collection.
Oh, what don't I collect? Well, there's a lot. Actually, there's a lot I don't collect because I get people are saying, you know, can I fix mask toys? I don't have any mask toys. I don't have any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys. I get asked to fix those a lot. So there's quite a few things like 80s toy ranges that I don't have. Biker Mice from Mars, I don't have any of those. Bucky O'Hare, you know, there's still things I've yet to find a love for. It doesn't mean I'm not going to fix them, because sometimes I don't have any interest in a toy at all until I actually get one, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, I love this, it's just amazing, and I get sort of, you know, get a bit crazy about buying them and go sort of right down that rabbit hole. So I'm never going to say I'm not going to buy anything or get into anything. It's just I haven't got into it yet.
You're not a Tom who literally just collects everything.
Yeah, I think some people do though. It's like when the problem is, you know, people know I'm a Star Wars collector, so at Christmas you get bought things that just have Star Wars stamped on them. Yeah. And it's hard to explain to people. I don't like anything with Star Wars on it. There's very specific things I like. If you stick Star Wars on something, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be interested in it. I think a lot of people are though. If it just says a word, you know, that they like on it, they'll buy it.
I can see loads of questions flying up. I'm going to try and get through everyone's comments. Toy Polloi, toys.
Wow,
Michael Kozak.
That's a big one.
That's a big, yeah.
Dave,
Josh.
good to see you live, sir. Josh Anderson, Craig King, Dave will fix it.
I don't know if I want those few words.
No, I mean he's used a very controversial character's catchphrase and applying it to you, Dave. I don't know how you should feel about that.
I don't want any association with that, please.
No. Delete that comment. Big up. Oh, can I big up? Can
Nick
I
said I started watching. Big up Dobbs fan. Yeah.
Can I just big up Dobbs fan? Yeah, big up Dobbs fan. Respect.
Yeah, there you go.
Respect, brother.
Big up Dobbs fan.
Good.
Nick, I started watching Toy Polloi to kill time. Now I have a house full of vintage toys, mostly Action Man. # blame Toy Polloi.
Yeah.
I know Nick, and he does blame me for a lot. I think he started messaging me a while back, and we sort of got chatting about Action Man, and I think he started off with a couple, and he's now like me. I initially only wanted like 2 Action Man, the ones I remembered having as a kid. I've now got like about 35 of them on a shelf.
Yeah.
It's much the same. It's that sort of, I didn't intend to buy them, but I've now got them, and it just keeps growing.
I think for me that they're a personal favourite, watching you work on the Action Men and restore the Action Men. I think that for me, yeah, that's probably my favourite sort of toys that you work with. Yeah,
do you know, I had loads of Action Men as a kid, also a few new ones, and most were like jumble sale finds. My mum was a great one for going down the jumble sales on a Saturday morning and sort of bringing them back. And then I sold them all as a kid. It was only a few years back, a friend of mine, who I will call Uncle He-Man. He doesn't like his real name coming up, but he has a sort of pseudonym of Uncle He-Man. He sent me a couple of Action Men to fix up, and as soon as I got them, it's sort of rekindled that love of them. It was like, oh my god, these are just so cool. And that is a slippery slope to go down. Once you've got one action man, they soon they soon spread, shall we say, and you remember one uniform and then you remember another uniform, so you've got to have another action man, because you can't have, you've got to have them all on display. And very quickly you end up with a shelf heaving with action men. So it's a good one to get into, but you need a lot of space for them, especially if you get vehicles as well. That's you
got to remember, Dave, you've got the skill level, so you collecting them is cheaper for you than it is for all of us.
Yes, but there's also, you have to remember, it's not just cheap, it's patience. I think a lot of people forget the patience involved in fixing toys, because waiting for parts and finding parts, or finding the right piece, or finding the right fix, takes a long time. So you have to be a patient person as well as a tight ass, which is definitely...
You tick both boxes, Dave.
Yeah.
Scott's in.
Good evening, Scott.
Evening.
Good evening, Scott.
Evening, Jason.
It's one of my friends, Jason, there. Hello, Jason.
Is that one of your friends, is it?
Yeah, he's one of my mates. Yeah, he's tuning in.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Jason.
Retro Shed 85, how you doing? Mike wants to know when I'm coming back to America. His fan club misses him. Soon, as soon as I can, as soon as the gates open up.
I always make this joke, but is he any relation to Jeff?
Mike Jarrett? No.
No?
No,
I don't believe Jeff,
so. No.
There we go.
Evening, all Smugglers Canyon. Great to see Dave, the godfather of toy restoration. Big C has gone for the stripped back look this week.
Yeah,
indeed.
I'm toning it down a little bit.
Then we had a load of answers to the questions. I'm gonna try and skip through. Oh, we got Vic in the building for Boris Effect.
Hello, Vic.
Polloi. Woohoo.
Hello, Vic.
Paul Pacific. We all love and respect you, Dave. That's very nice.
There we go. Look.
Indeed. Classics 80s fanboy. Good radio voice, Dave.
Definitely. I was saying to Dave when we were off air, I was saying about how the amount of times, Dave, that I'm watching your videos and I end up falling asleep to your soothing voice.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
Well, no, it doesn't mean I was bored by the videos. No, put me to sleep. I just think I like to fall asleep either with the telly on or watching a video, and I just tend to just pass out. And yeah, your voice is you can sleep to it. Yeah, I like it. I love it.
Mrs. Toy Polloi often says that. I bore her to sleep. No, she thinks it's a soothing thing. I honestly can't say. Listening to myself and editing the videos with me talking, I get incredibly bored of listening to myself.
The
hard to judge. When you hear your own voice, it always sounds odd.
We was this is what we were discussing earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, I love that. I love that clip. What was that about, Dave? Why was you on BBC? Because the clip didn't really explain it.
No, it was from when like sort of satellite TV first started up. There was a BBC channel called BBC Choice, and I think they did. I can't remember what the name of the show. It was called like something like Screen Break or something like that. But it was talking about old TV shows and stuff like that. And I used to at the time run a website about Buck Rogers collectibles, because I have quite a large collection of Buck Rogers stuff and also Battlestar Galactica. And they got in touch with me via the website and said, could they come over and film a short sequence about my collection? It would be a sort of kind of jokey thing, about, my love for Buck Rogers. And I said, yes, come on over. And I think they came over twice. They filmed it one day. And then I got a phone call the next day saying they hadn't recorded any of the audio. So could they come over and film it again? But could I wear the same T-shirts and clothes that I'd worn the day before? So really stinky Space 1999 T-shirt to sort of refilm all of this stuff.
Talking of stinky T-shirts.
You've had that on a week, haven't you?
Yeah. Dave, do you know what I like about that clip as well? Your acting. Like, you deserve an Oscar for that acting. And would you ever consider growing the hair, going back to that hairstyle?
Do you know what? If I would love to still have long hair. But sadly, nature has taken it away from me. I'm a metalhead. I've always been into heavy metal music, and the last thing left of my heavy metalness is a sort of stupid beard. But unfortunately, nature took away my luscious locks, and if I grow my hair long now, I tend to look a bit like Terry Nutkins, which I don't think is the sort of the look that I would go for. So. Yeah, no, I did have lovely long hair back in.
You did.
That must have been late 90s, something like that. But yeah, nature's a cruel beast.
Definitely a good clip. People should check that out. It's brilliant.
Oh, this funny enough. This
we
was
were going to
this
touch
was
on that,
something
weren't we, Tom?
we were gonna touch on a bit later. Yeah, we might.
Yeah.
I mean, there is dozens and dozens of comments, but yeah, Dave, we obviously mentioned it earlier. I said, "Are you okay?" Cole's behind the toy channel. Dave, how do you feel about the Star Wars fan who leave bad comments about you fixing toys? What are your thoughts?
It's one of those things. It's every toy collector collects in a different way, and some people, some collectors have very strong opinions about what you should and shouldn't do with toys. And I think there's a certain section of the Star Wars collecting community who have a very specific idea of what toy collecting is, and so they don't like to see someone like me essentially still playing with toys and fixing them up and showing other people how to fix them up. Because I think I don't collect for an investment. I collect because I enjoy the toys. All the stuff I buy and fix up is generally pretty broken and fairly cheap. But I can see if you're collecting at the sort of the top end of the market, when you're spending hundreds, if not thousands of pounds on, a Star Wars figure, and someone like me comes along and fixes it, shows people how to fix it, they automatically assume that you're doing that to try and rip them off, or somehow get money out of them, or con someone into doing it. So I think that's the reason they don't like what I do. And I happily use repro and replacement parts in fixing toys, because I don't want to spend a huge amount of money fixing them. And repro and replacement parts do a very good job if you don't have much of a budget. So I will happily use them. And again, they see that as there's always someone going to be trying to rip them off or other people off further down the line. So I can understand why they don't like what I do. But at the end of the day, there are, 44,000 people subscribed to my channel who do like what I do. I don't believe there is a right or wrong way to collect toys. There's just different ways to collect toys. And so if people leave rude comments on my videos, I have to say,
it's a view, Dave.
If people leave rude comments on my channel, I will remove them. If they're swearing in any comment, I will remove it. And if you're offensive about me or what I do, I will remove it. If it's a perfectly normal comment about stuff that you don't like, it's fine. I'll leave it there. I don't feel there's any reason to be offensive to someone else about what they collect or why they collect it. I'm not doing this to rip people off. I'm doing this to fix toys and show people how to fix toys and have fun with toys. It may not be how they see you can have fun with toys, but there are plenty of people who see that what I do is a fun thing to do with toys. It's just part of running a channel. You'll always get abuse. You'll always get negative comments. That's it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, I think you're like a godsend to the lower entry collectors and the mid-level collectors. I just think it's the few, like you say, the few top, almost elitist collectors. The ones that have spent big money on their collections, they're the only ones who are really going to have a big issue with it, aren't they?
I can certainly understand why they get, why they're worried, because they're spending, thousands on things. But for me, I can't get joy out of something. If, I've got Star Wars figures here that, I've got a yak face here, I've got blue snaggletooth. People would spend, I think yak face now goes for 200 quid. I would never spend 200 quid on a figure because I couldn't get £200 worth of fun or enjoyment out of it. It would just sit on that shelf and it would annoy me that I'd wasted money on that, or a blaster for a figure costing 100 quid, or a lightsaber for, R2D2, they cost 100 quid now. I can't get that enjoyment out of it. So a reproduction one, or one that I've made myself, fine. I've had the fun of it, the fun of making it. And I think lots of other people are like-minded. There are no rules in toy collecting, and when these people make up these arbitrary rules, they're doing it for their own personal reasons, and that's fine, but don't blame me or moan at me. I'm having fun, and plenty of other people are having fun doing what I do, and so,
I think you definitely make more people happy than you do annoy people. So you've got to take that into consideration, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of, especially in the Star Wars world, there's a lot of negativity, not just about toy collecting, just about Star Wars in general. People seem to, it's a love-hate relationship. If toys are making you unhappy and making you angry and making you sort of cross,
probably not the hobby for you.
Go and do something else. Go and walk in the forest, or just do something. I come into my room, and every day I come in my room, it's a room of joy. You know, I come in here and there's always something to do and something to play with, and I never come in here and get cross and like, someone's done that. And, you know, no, it doesn't matter. It's not. It's a fun hobby. Do it for fun. If you're doing it for money and monetary gain, that's not my way of doing it. You're not going to enjoy my channel. Don't watch it.
No, that's good stuff. Cole's behind the toy channel. That's obviously an excellent question. That was one of the things I was going to touch on a bit later on, but we have gone through it. And Big C, you mentioned that obviously a lot more people love Toy Polloi than hate him. But obviously for yourself,
Definitely.
unfortunately, it's the opposite, ain't it?
How do you mean?
Unfortunately, well, more people hate you than they love you, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the problem. I've got the opposite
moving
problem.
on.
I try to be liked and people hate me, but you know, that's the role I've got to play.
Frank has agreed with you, Big C, on your. He finds Toy Polloi so relaxing when he watches.
Definitely.
And look,
definitely,
that the hatred is here. Big
yeah,
C.
I
The
know.
hatred is here,
I'm
Big C.
disappointing people. See, you know, you've got the Star Wars fans to contend with, Dave, and I've got these people. You know, I don't wear a silly hat, and everyone's turning on me. Thanks, guys.
We all have our haters. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know you've made it if you've got.
Don't like them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's it. Well, he's actually said then hat donations, a lady's bonnet.
Yeah, well, I've actually got 2 daughters, so I tend to go through their dressing up box, and they've got big, flowery hats I can start wearing and stuff, and bonnets and things like that. So yeah.
Brad said you need to wear a cartoon-related hat for sure.
Well, in the first ever episode, I did wear one of the big Disney Pluto hats, so even had ears on it and stuff like that. So I have done that, Brad.
I remember that. Dude has said he's learned so many tips on fixing toys from Dave. Happy days. We've answered this question before, so we're gonna probably ask you, Dave. This is gonna be a funny one because we've obviously touched on the case that you don't particularly pay a lot of money for toys and you tend to fix them.
I do. There are a couple of things in here that I've paid a lot of money for and then sort of regretted because I found them cheaper later on, you know, that sort of thing. I'd say probably some of the Japanese toys behind me, you can see these Henshin cyborgs and stuff like that. They're probably my most expensive things I buy, but basically because you can only get them in Japan, so I have to travel all the way to Japan to get them. So that, you know, that's a few £1,000s in flights and hotels plus a toy at the end of it. So those probably cost me the most. But I'm just trying to think. I can tell the most I've ever spent on a Star Wars figure is £10, and that was for Romba, the Ewok figure. All other Star Wars figures in my collection have cost me far less than that. I've never even all of the last 17. Yak Face cost me £1.50.
Wow.
And my pop-up R2D2 cost me £3. So, you know, I'd say probably the Henshin Cyborgs on a few Micronauts. I got a boxed as a kid. I had a Micronauts Star Searcher. I can just get it out here because it's just behind me, and it was actually my brother's. But I remember playing with this Star Searcher, and I was desperate to get one. And I couldn't find one for ages, and I found one in France. It cost me £110, I think, to get this sent over from France. 2 weeks later, I got another one in better condition for £30 on eBay, and it's like, you know. So
that's the life of toy collecting, unfortunately, ain't it?
I've now got 2 of them boxed, and it's fine. I've also got a loose one as well. So that's probably the most I've ever spent on something, but it was like a grail item for me to get just because it had such a sort of strong memory. And yeah, I should have waited because I got one later. But you know, sometimes the excitement of a toy and the hunt for a toy gets the better of you. But yeah, I don't do that often.
Good stuff.
Excellent, great stuff. Ian was cooking a curry, and I'm only at 12 minutes past 8, guys. There's so many comments. I am approximately about 40 minutes behind, give or take. But Ian, we've got Ian in.
You see what you've done, Dave. This is your fault. We've got so many comments.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah,
there was a massive.
It's great, nice, fantastic.
Look,
because of Dave, I recently started to build a vintage Skeletor army.
Well, good man. I hope we're not in competition.
The classic 80s fanboy said, I love the fact that Dave is so eclectic with his various collection of 70s and 80s toys.
Yeah, as I say, it basically whatever sort of catches my eye comes in the collection. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. I've got a few Cindy's here as well now, and a Polloi Action Girl, just because if you've got Action Man, you've got to have Action Girl. And you know, a friend of ours restores Cindy dolls, so I swapped her an Action Man for a Cindy doll because it seemed like a good thing to add to my collection.
Yeah, I don't think not many of us have got enough female
Excellent.
toys in our collections. I think we can
No,
all do with some more female, you know.
I think they're good to get into. There are some really expensive things to get into. I have a doll here, which is actually Mrs. Toy Polloi grew up with these. These are called Pippa, and they're made by Polloi. They're quite short actually, and these are incredibly collectible now. They go for, I think the dolls are about sort of £30 or £40 each. They're sort of you know, a highly collectible thing, but they're really nice dolls. And you know, there's nothing wrong with collecting dolls. I don't think they're just good toys, and I think I've got 7 or 8 of them now, sort of dotted around.
Nice,
Good
nice.
stuff. Frank has said, Dave, he can see a Wonder Bread He-Man. I'm presuming you've got one. If you have, is it a custom?
Yeah, of course it is. He's over there. He's on Castle Grayskull, just there in the corner. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a video on how to make him. He's actually made out of a Fisto with He-Man's arms and He-Man's head, but it's Fisto's legs and body, because the pelvis is the right colour, saves you having to paint stuff. So yeah, of course it's a custom. Unless I found one randomly, I'm not paying. They're another
Good
of those
stuff.
ridiculous.
They go for big money.
I've got a vinyl Cape Jower here as well. Honest.
Yep, definitely.
You still with us, Tom?
He's gone all slow.
He's gone a little bit slow. Look.
Jonathan said he's completed his first toy restoration on an old X-Wing, thanks to your videos.
Good man, nice to hear. I'm always doing X-Wing videos. It's a good toy.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think you've got a bit of a delay, Tom. You're going a bit slow.
He's the one with the bad internet. I thought
it was
me.
it's me and you are all right, Dave. I think it's Tom.
Oh, am I? I think, yeah, see, this is what I say to everyone. Like, it's me now with a bad internet, and I say about we can have issues, and it looks like it's me that's got the shit internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've gone very robotic now. Oh, there you are. You're back.
There you go.
Right.
You look better now. Yeah, you're better now.
That's
you're
all
better
right.
now.
Do I?
Yeah, you're better now.
Apologies, guys. It's obviously my internet playing up a little bit.
Turn into a robot.
Have you ever Have you ever fixed any Galaxy Warriors?
No, I haven't. No, they're much like He-Man, aren't they? Galaxy Warriors. They're the sort of say they're like I'm going to say knockoff, but they're not. You know, a homage to Masters of the Universe. No, I haven't. I imagine the fix would be much the same. Yeah, I imagine the fix would be much the same. You know, you could use O-rings and eyes and hooks and eyes to do it, but I can't say I've ever done it.
No probs. Dave, is there any one toy that baffled you to the point where you can't repair it? I have
a box of things that I'm still pondering. That's the way I like to look at things. Some things take me a long time to sort of work out how I'm going to do, and so I will ponder them for a long time. Like, I think fixing the clips on Darth Vader's TIE fighter took me about 10 years because it just sat on my wall and I just couldn't work it out. And then like recently a friend of mine, Jeremy, who runs the YouTube channel Tokyo Toy Bastard, about 5 years ago, he gave me some Ghostbusters toys because he said the proton packs always break and the streams break off them. And it's taken me 5 years to fix them because I've just been, it's one of those things, I sort of had a rough idea how I'd do it. And then, yeah, it just took me that long to actually think of a solution. So I'm going to say no, there's nothing I can't repair, just I haven't thought about how to do it yet. So some things take me a long time.
Have you got a lot of projects, Dave, that have been shelved, that are sitting there waiting for you to find the right solution or waiting for you to get round to repairing?
Yeah, I have bags of stuff. Sort of, I put things together that I'm planning to work on, and you know, I've got sort of a list on my wall behind here that I write stuff on, and there's some things on there that have been on there for 3 or 4 years. At some point, inspiration will strike and I'll get the answer to how to do it. But it takes a while. Like I had a Chewbacca with a broken leg, and that took me a few years to work out how to do it. Now I've done it, and it's a good fix. But it's just that seeing that item or seeing something that sparks off oh yeah, if I did that, then that will fix it. So yeah, I'm a slow burner on some fixes. Some things are instant. I'll see it and it will, yeah, it's like straight away I know, oh, that's what I can do. And other things I will ponder it for a lot longer.
Good stuff.
And going into the next question, Josh has asked, what project was the most difficult for you to figure out, Dave?
Well, so yeah, stuff like the Chewbacca, sometimes it's simple things. The more complicated the toy is, you can generally make stuff, but it's when it's a simple thing that you don't, but it sort of, it looks simple, but actually when you get down to it, you can't really sort of fathom it. So yeah, so it's things like reattaching arms and legs sometimes is really easy and other times is nigh on impossible. I actually just doing another He-Man figure this week, Extendar. Tom will know Extendar, the weird one that you can pull his legs out and sort of make him all long. And
yeah.
He's made of plastic that just shatters, so you can't break him open to fix him, but you can fix him if you think about it the right way. And it's that, lateral thinking, I suppose, is the.
You got to have an engineering type brain, the way you got to think about these things, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't like, people ask me, how do I come up with the fixes? Honestly, I've no idea. It's just I look at stuff and then think, well, what is that like? What is similar to that? What can I do? Or even, sometimes other people will say, have you seen this? And I'll look at it and think, oh yeah, that looks a little bit like this. And I'll just sort of file it in the back of my memory until some point that I need it. So yeah, you just have to look at the world really, and sometimes inspiration strikes.
Yeah.
Oh, got another question here for you. Oh, let me just get that back up. Sorry, is my internet still playing up a bit? If it is, I might switch over to my phone. Does Dave ever plan on collecting, restoring toy lines?
Well, I've got a couple of Thundercats figures, and I do actually have the remains of a Thunder Tank in my loft that someone gave me. That is one of those I probably should get round to fixing it because it looks quite interesting. But I don't really have that many. I think I've got who's the main guy? Lion-O. I've got Lion-O. Yeah. I've got Chitara.
Lion-O. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got Lion-O and Chitara and a couple of figures on my shelf. But it's one of those lines, as I said, I'm not going to say I haven't collected it for any particular reason. It's just I haven't got into it yet. At some point I'll get one and be like, oh yeah, that's really good fun. Because I would like to work on Lion-O because he has that strange light up eye thing, doesn't he? You can put something in the back of him and light. I actually got one of those recently, so I have the little power pack thing. So I probably should work on it because I now have the bit that I need to sort of light it up. So yeah, I may get onto it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I think I mentioned earlier, I've got two figures. I've got one of the Turtles and I've got April O'Neil, but nothing else. I know a lot of people ask me to fix them. A lot of people ask me to fix Mask as well. So at some point I probably will get into it. But I'm running out of space. As you can see behind me, I film in an incredibly tiny room. It's like this wide by this. So the floor is absolutely littered with projects. So I sort of have to say to people who offer to send me things, I just say, no, I'm chock-a-block with everything.
I see that big droid. Is that a big droid, big full-size droid you got at the back there, Dave?
Yes, it's made out of cardboard. It was when they released the Phantom Menace, there was a load of books made by I think it was Dorling and Kindersley, the sort of book company, and these were store displays. I just happened to have a friend of mine worked at Dorling and Kindersley, and I said to him, "Oh, can you get me a battle droid?" So I've had it ever since. It's 20 odd years old, made out of cardboard, and still going strong.
It looks good.
It gets quite a lot of abuse. It's got a hat on it and another box sitting on top of it. But after 20 years, it's still alive.
I've seen it in some of your videos before, and it looks like a big, like, sort of giant action figure. It almost looks, it's not made of cardboard. It doesn't look like that.
No, it's made of cardboard. You can pose it as well. You can move its arms around as well. It's quite a clever thing.
Brilliant.
I don't imagine there's that many of them sort of survived because they were just store displays. But it's had, I think we've moved twice, so it's had 2 house moves and it's still in one piece. So.
It's good. I like it. Tom, you still with us?
Well, I think I'm going to. I am. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and switch over to my phone because I am having a hell of a lot of problems hearing you two. Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi seems to.
You're
not going to leave me in charge, Tom, are you?
Oh no, he's adding more people to the chat.
But hopefully,
he's adding more people to the chat.
I'm now basically the lead presenter now. Look.
Well done. You've been promoted.
I've been promoted now.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah. This is the issues you always warn about, Tom, at the beginning, isn't it?
Let's try it. Let's try it this way.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. We can see you. Lovely T-shirt, Tom. Lovely T-shirt you got there.
Technical issues.
Well, you do warn at the beginning, Tom, don't you? But you never think that the host is going to be the one that has the issues.
I'll have to turn my iPad off because I'm getting feedback. One sec.
Shall we start just sort of chatting amongst ourselves then, Chris? You know.
Yeah.
We'll do the show.
I'm going to try this now. Can you hear me? Yeah.
He's back. He's back.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. You're back. Can you hear us?
I can't bloody hear you two now.
Can you put? Are you doing it on your phone, Tom? Can you put your headphones in?
It's great fun, ain't it? One sec.
Should we just sign language?
There we go. So now I'm in charge, Dave. He's finally gone, people. I'm now running the show. So yeah.
So what do you want to ask me, Chris? What do you want to ask me?
Well, Dave, do you know one thing I did want to talk about?
Yeah.
Is I don't think people appreciate it. If anybody watches your channel in detail like I do, explain to us the filming process, how you're having to do the things you're doing effectively, I suppose, with your... Yeah, go on. Tell us how you do it. Tell us how you film the repairs.
It's incredibly basic. I have a small table in my room, which is really quite small, and a sheet of white perspex on it, just to make it look like a sort of a clean area, which is pushed up against the wall. And then, I have the camera in front of me. So, and then I sort of reach around the camera to do, to do all the stuff. And it's an art, I would have to say. It's something I've learned over the years is how to sort of work with a camera in front of me.
Because I suppose it restricts you, Dave, from getting in close. Like, you you're doing everything, over something. You can't really get your head in there either, can you?
No, you can't do it. It's really, so on some fixes it's quite awkward because things that are actually relatively easy to do when you can see what you're doing, with the camera in the way, you're sort of permanently sort of peering over the top of it, trying to see, what you're unscrewing or what you're painting. So it's a bit awkward. Like some of the I think I did a video recently repainting Skeletor's face and that's actually quite it's quite a delicate little job to do. It would actually be quite easy, but when you're doing it with the camera in the way and old shaky hands here trying to
I suppose you've got to always make sure that you've always got it in camera. You've always got it in the same position to obviously capture it in the center of the camera. I suppose that's difficult. I don't think people appreciate that.
I do, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you'll see in the shots that my hands go above the thing, or what I'm trying to show is not quite on, in the shot, or it's out of focus. Mistakes happen. And I think people have to understand that I'm not a professional. I don't have a team, but I think some people think there is a team at Toy Polloi. It's not. Toy Polloi is just me, in a room, and then I go downstairs and edit it at a PC. So there is no team. And if things go wrong, if the sound's not great, if the lighting's not right, or, it's just me. It's tough. I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. And I think people understand that. It's more the ideas I'm giving across rather than the quality of the video that I'm producing.
You're a great sewer.
Can you sort of hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear us?
So it's all clear now. Apology. Yeah, I can hear both of you fine. What I've done is I've come downstairs into my living room. I think the Wi-Fi is having trouble getting up into the toy room a bit.
There's too many toys blocking the signal.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
The only reason mine is good here is
possibly.
The only reason it's good here for me is I'm directly above the router, which is sort of downstairs through the floor. If I was in any other room in my house, there's nothing at all. There's no signal.
Yeah,
so.
I stopped my family. My family aren't allowed to do anything on a Monday night, so there's no other people allowed to use the internet. It's just me, So Emma has to start sitting there reading books.
I have apologies because I usually run off a laptop and an iPad. I'm currently just running off an iPad, and I've probably missed some comments. So I'm going to kind of. Well, you've actually touched on Mask, ain't you, Dave?
Yeah, basically,
Dave's asked if.
Yeah, it's not something I currently collect, but at some point I'm sure I will, because so many people ask me about them, and they do look quite interesting toys. I think I have one Mask figure that I picked up years ago. Is there a guy called Condor on a green bike? Yeah, I have the figure. I don't have the bike. I've just got the figure somewhere. So that's the only Mask sort of toy I had. But you know, a few years, like last year, I didn't collect any GI Joe. I've now got absolutely masses of GI Joe because a couple of people sent them to me and said, "Can you fix up some GI Joes?" And I've now got bags of them and figures everywhere because they, you know, they're actually quite enjoyable to work on. So I've sort of started them, and the same could happen with Mask quite easily.
It's funny you should mention GI Joe, Dave, because I've got something to run past you in a little while. I've got something to ask you a bit of advice.
Funny enough, Big C. The next comment is referring to your Big C. Come restring some Action Man with me. There's an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, I would love to, Vic. I would love to. I would love to.
1000th Ghost. Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Like I say, Matt Smith's in the building.
The other Matt Smith.
Yeah, the other Matt. We're at it's 5:09 in real time. I'm only at, on regards to the comments, it's 24 minutes past 8. So there's still a little.
Dave, we're going to be here all night.
I know.
It's unreal. Freeze the comments, and we'll just catch up with it. We can always do a second one if you want to. A second edition.
Adore and endure. Welcome to the chat. Hi lads. Anyone bought the Mego Museum magazines? Highly recommended.
No, I've seen that they've been doing them. Yeah, they look pretty good. I haven't actually managed to get some yet, but yeah, certainly be interested to. It's quite fun that I've started writing for a magazine. It's always quite fun to see what other people write for stuff. So yeah, definitely.
My beautiful wife is watching, or my beautiful wife was watching at 24 minutes past 8. She's probably lost interest now, especially as the internet's gone a bit dodgy here. So, the classic 80s fanboy. Is there a toy that Dave would really like to try and repair?
I have one that I've been wanting to do in pieces down here, which you will be seeing in a few months' time, I think. Which is Laser Light Skeletor.
Wow.
I have the remains of two Laser Light Skeletors here, and he's something one I've been looking forward to working on for quite a while. Quite a complicated fix because you've got to redo all the wiring, make new battery compartments, make new capes, everything. So yeah, that's one I'm really looking forward to working on. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty more. I just, as I said before, sometimes I just get sent something, or I just see something and think, oh, that looks really interesting, and I will have to fix it or have to work out a fix for it. I like sort of quite mechanical toys as well. So I'm no good at getting little wind-up motors to work because they're just too fiddly, but I would love to be able to get those working again. And at some point I will, I'll work out the knack of getting the springs and stuff working.
One that made my brain hurt, Dave, was the when you repaired the Talking Action Man, the insides of the Talking Action Man, you were taking it apart and you had all the string and all the tape and stuff like that. That frazzles my brain just watching it. How do you put it all back together?
Well, one of them, the modern, like the more modern talking ones, so the Blue Pants era, which is like late 70s, early 80s, they're relatively easy. The early one, to be honest, I think in that video, I didn't even fix it. I've been given one that had been smashed to pieces and I stuck it all back together. But it's such a strong spring in it. Every time you pulled it, it just sort of destroyed itself. So it still doesn't work. It's still on my shelf. I think I now do have the remains of another one in a box. So at some point I'll come back to it and I will get it working again. I like the mechanical things like that are fascinating because they're so clever. There's no batteries, there's nothing. It's just springs and a sort of a little speaker. Fascinating. I love that sort of stuff. It's what I really enjoy doing is those ones because they make you think. And if I still show videos, if things break in them, I will still show stuff breaking because I think people have to learn not everything works. Stuff does break as you're fixing it. You just get on with it. You'll come back to it later.
Darth Bosk, shout out to Dave, who once did a great head swap on Han Solo for me.
Oh, did you know what I did? He sent me some figures. I did them. I posted them back, and they got lost in the post. He never got them. I did the video. I filmed it all and sent him the stuff, and they got lost. So it was a really sad. Somewhere, some postman has got 2 really nice Han Solo figures because they went and they disappeared.
That's no good.
That is no good. No, the Universal Collector, the legend Toy Polloi. Hi, Dave. Like I
He
said,
is a legend.
We're about 8:30. We're about 8:30 now. So
We
Nick
have to
said, "I
start
blame
rapidly
Dave."
getting through these, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start flying through them. I blame Dave for the 3 shells I have full of Action Man. Frank says, Big C, I think you should do a 90s Action Man video series.
I should try and do something. Yeah.
Dave's reaction to Big C's comment on collecting 90s Action Man.
He wasn't happy about that, was he? Dave was disgusted.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
Not my era.
No.
Tom Butler, top man, Dave. I remember seeing him on the BBC program that we mentioned earlier. Some of this is probably lost in translation because.
Sorry, Dave. You say you've got another one? You did another one.
I was on.
Some of these
comments. Called Collectorholics, BBC, like about 5 years ago. I did another one. So when they came here and saw this room, actually. So yeah, I've been on TV twice so far about toys.
Ah.
May not be the last time. I've done a couple of screen tests as well for different programs over the years. Nothing's ever come of it, but occasionally people contact me and say, can I do a screen test? And I always say yes, just because it's fun. But so far, no one has given me my own TV show. You never know.
They should do.
Yeah.
Steve said, hey, Dave, great and rare privilege to see your face. I still play with my toys.
Good man. Good. Always play with the toys.
Definitely.
Kazem said, good point about missing limbs at the car boot. So we're still about 40 minutes behind. We'll get there. With no funny hat, does that mean Big C has been promoted from comedy sidekick to co-host?
Like I said, I've tried to be a bit sensible. So what you want to do when you get someone like Dave on, we got to make the most of having Dave on, really, and we got to try and bring a bit more sensible vibe to it. Otherwise, I just sit here making wisecracks, Dave, normally, and just trying to show Tom up as much as possible.
I feel honoured.
Yeah.
Alan's here.
Hi, Alan.
Guys. How you doing, Alan? The Classic 80s fanboy. I use Dave's techniques to clean and repair my Doctor Who figures. Brad has asked, what's the most frustrating toy that you have fixed so far? Kind of had some of these.
Yeah, probably. The Talking Action Man, the early Talking Action Man, because I still haven't fixed it. It fell to pieces, and it was frustrating, and it's still frustrating. But that is toy fixing. Sometimes things get the better of you. I think I mentioned earlier, I was fixing this Thunderbird thing over the weekend, and I broke it 3 times while fixing it. Sometimes it's just frustrating. It just, but you just have to persevere. Put it down, go and have a cup of tea, come back, have another go. You might get it.
Frank says he's like me. He collects everything. Be Retro Gamer. Dave reinvigorated my love for toys.
Quite a lot of people
Welcome to the stream.
Haven't they?
Yeah, no, I hear that a lot. I think a lot of people watch my stuff, and that hashtag blame Toy Polloi. I do get that a lot. Sometimes I do a video, and in the next week you cannot get that toy for love nor money. Like everybody's suddenly gone to get this thing that I've shown how to fix it. So things that were very cheap for years and years, and then you see it on my channel, and it's like you just can't get it. I have a feeling in about 2 months' time, and maybe slightly, I can't remember when I scheduled it. You won't be able to get He-Man Ram Man for love nor money, because I've got a video on supercharging Ram Man.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I think as soon as that video goes out, you won't be you can get him for about £3 now. I reckon he will go up to sort of £10 because everyone will be wanting to buy a broken Ram Man to make him shoot up in the air. It's ridiculously high. I'll just see if I've got my one down here. I can't remember which. Oh yeah, it's this one. He's supercharged now. So if I put him here, you'll see him fire up. He goes mental. he properly fires up a good distance. But not like the one when you got him as a kid, he was useless. He didn't even come off the floor. This one now goes 35 centimeters in the air. But, I think So I tell you now, buy Ram Man. Put all your money in Ram Man.
He actually jumps now.
El Tender's in the building.
Yeah.
Oh, Theo's in.
Here you go, Big C.
Oh man, Theo.
He says he's late. He's late to the show, but I'm still catching up with the comments, mate. Don't worry about it.
Always good to see Theo.
Well,
Frank, big friend of the show.
What? Frank, one final question. Sorry, he's coming happy tonight. How many Skeletors do you have?
I haven't counted them for a while. It's sort of 35 or 40 now. Quite a few, and I do keep adding more. People send them to me, which is always very nice. I'm never going to turn down a Skeletor. But yeah, I've probably got. They all sit in a suitcase. They're not even on display. I have a little brown suitcase. It was my grandfather's, and it's just full of Skeletors. So you open it up, and it's just like a sort of treasure trove. And they're all cleared out. So yeah, I've got loads of them. I love him. He's just such a weird character. I don't know why I love him, but he's just a crazy thing.
I'm a big fan of him as well. Robert Diaz. Some vintage toys hold up better than modern toys. Sorry, for sure. Dave, what's it? Dave is my lockdown.
Yeah,
hero.
I think it's the same for all of us. I think we've all binged on Dave during lockdown, haven't we?
Yeah, I do hear that a lot. I think people have been quite pleased that I've carried on producing videos regularly, for this last year. And I at the start, I thought I wouldn't be able to. I thought I wouldn't have, getting parts for stuff and getting supplies. But actually, it's just made me a bit more inventive, and I've decided just to keep on doing it. And even if some of the fixes I've shown haven't been as good as I would have liked, just because I can't get parts, but it doesn't matter. It's still entertaining for people. So, and I think you can make do with what you've got. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, yeah, I still have plenty more to go. I think I've got, because of lockdown, I'm not going out. I have 2 months worth of videos already lined up. So I've just uploaded my last video in May. Is already lined up. So yeah, don't worry. There's more to come.
Mando's Mucky Mate, did you try to sell me a boxed Return of the Jedi speeder at a BP Toy Fair in Doncaster? If not, you have a clone. You don't stall that, Dave, do you, at any of the shows?
No, I don't. I'm just, what? I've never owned a boxed speeder bike, so no, it's not me. No, I don't sell my stuff. I give things to people, and I trade things with people. I generally actually give stuff to people if it's someone I know. But no, I don't sell anything. I'm not a trader.
Mando's Mucky Mate comes across a bit of a wild man from what we know of him. So it could have been anyone, Mando's, couldn't it?
Dave's the proverbial god of toy repairs and inspired me to repair my kids' toys. Unfortunately, I end up keeping them. Thanks from all of us, Dave. That's Michael John Wilkes.
Thanks, Michael. No harm in keeping some for yourself. I would still give your kids toys, because that's essentially what they're for, aren't they? For kids, but keep the best ones for yourself.
Good stuff. Right, sorry guys, I'm just trying to get through the comments. Robert has shown us how to restore and repair your old toys as a public service. Thank you, sir.
Definitely.
Ed's Retro Geek Cat's in the building. He's learned a lot from Toy Polloi. Michael said Dave taught us to put our bits and bobs in hot soapy water.
Yeah. As long as it's not your fiddly bits, you're all right.
Yeah.
The classic 80s fanboy, my view is that if you want to spend thousands of pounds on plastic, then good for you. Indeed. Fabs has said, hi, I have a question. What was your favourite job until now? I'm presuming restoration job.
Or restoration job. Oh, I think recently the Action Man Space, the Solar Hurricane, because that was one I'd really wanted to get back in my collection. Because I had it as a kid and I love it, and that was a real joy to do, just because I had such a connection to it, and it was quite a fun fix as well, because I had to make bits from parts, from nothing to sort of, because the parts are impossible to find for it, so making stuff from scratch. So I think recently that's been a big favourite. But I don't know, I like doing all sorts. I like the custom ones where I make custom stickers, like the Snow Speeder with custom stickers on it, or stuff like that, where I'm adding something to it. And in fact, the Action Man Space stuff has been really nice, because one of the guys who works originally on the Action Man Space range has been in touch, and I've chat with him on email, and it's just nice to be able to chat to the guy who originally designed these toys and worked on them, and then show him what I've done to it and my sort of modern take on it, and to get his approval. It's just really nice. So those sorts of things are my favourites recently. Action Man Space things,
My personal favourite, most satisfying thing I've watched you do, Dave, is the reflocking the Action Man's hair.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Well, actually, that was a good one. That Action Man that was completely painted red,
Yeah,
like a sort of murder victim. That was
yeah.
a particularly enjoyable one, because I think most people would have seen that and just gone, "That's rubbish, bin it." But it was a lot of work.
And
But
it come out quite nice. Yeah,
he's
it come out
still
quite
on my
nice.
shelf. He's got a bit of a rosy sort of,
Yeah, tinge to him. Yeah,
but the rest of him looks great, and I just, that was a joy to do that one, because it was such a challenge, and I think most people would have seen it and just gone, "That is junk, get rid of it." But I think I proved my point that you can fix almost anything with that one.
definitely.
All right, let's start flying through some of these comments. A toy is a toy, supposed to be played with. Indeed it is. Darth Forces, do not whiten your teeth using Dave's method for freshening up your stormtroopers. I repeat. Chris has said he wishes there was a solution to fix or make new wings for the wing sectors steeds. They always break, don't they? The sectors
I
steeds.
have a couple of sectors in a box down here with wings missing, so that is on my list of things. I think I do have an idea for them, so at some point that will get done. So I do have an idea.
That's the future. Excellent. Vic wants to know your thoughts on grading. Well, we've watched your
well,
videos.
your video
obviously.
is yeah.
I've done videos on grading, yeah, and I even spoke to the guy who runs that UK graders company. He phoned me up because I think he was a little bit annoyed with my video on it.
Yeah.
I think personally, it's not for me. I can see some people do like it. I like to be able to touch the toys that I've got. If you put it in a bit of plastic, you can't touch it. But I still think grading is a very arbitrary process, and I also don't think that once a toy is graded, it will still degrade in the box. So the grade it's only the grade on the day it is graded, and I think that needs to be made clearer. If you're going to grade something, put a date on it, like this was graded here. So if you look at it 5 years down the line and it's a completely different color, because figures do go funny color.
I think you proved the point as well, Dave, with that video that you did with the Skeletor and the Star Wars figure that you sent off and you got them regraded. It's open to interpretation, isn't it? A different person's going to grade it differently on a given day. Yeah.
And that company, that was UK Graders I sent to. The Gamorrean Guard was actually, I got that as a U graded figure. So someone had taken it off a card and put it in a box. I won it in a competition, actually. I didn't get it done. It was just a figure I had. So I smashed it out of that. So it was U graded and it's now come back as great. I think that got the same scores. But the Skeletor was the interesting one, because it got graded, I think, slightly better, which is odd. So it got slightly, and then as soon as I showed it, loads of Masters of the Universe collectors got in touch with me saying it's the wrong weapons and the wrong armor on the wrong figure. It's not a figure that anyone's ever seen together. It's completely wrong. They shouldn't have graded it. And I did research on it, and no one has got that combination of armor on a figure, so it's wrong. And I think that just shows that the process isn't flawless. And I think buyer beware on all of these things. You're basically paying someone to give you an opinion on what your figure is. It's not for me. So
no, I've got to agree with you, Dave, on that one. It's not particularly for me either, to be honest with you. David World Toys, 1 million respect to David Toy Polloi and what he does, and loving what he does as well.
That's a lot of respect.
It's a big respect
there.
That
is, yeah. Steve Gilmore has said, Dave, if you weren't a fabulous toy restorer, what would you have done?
Well, this isn't my job, unfortunately. So I still have. Unfortunately, Toy Polloi does not pay. I think people think on YouTube you actually make quite a lot of money off YouTube, which is not really the case. You make some money, but not. I can't live off what I make from this. So I have a day job. My day job is I'm a computer graphics artist. That is my day job. So
It's funny.
Still in the creative setting though.
Yeah, I think that's when people see me doing Photoshop work and they say, "How are you so good at Photoshop?" Well, I've done that since I was like 14 or 15. So I've had 30 odd years of doing computer graphics. I'm quite good at it. So that's why I make it look easy, because essentially I've done it for a very long time. But if I could do this as a job, just doing YouTube videos and stuff, I would. But it's a long way from me being able to stop a day job.
it's funny you've just said that, because one of the next questions is from Mando's Mucky Mate is, my kids want to be YouTubers. How many subscribers and views per post would you need to make it a viable job? Well, you've just
Well,
said it, ain't you?
I can say, you know, as a sort of average, for every 1,000 views, if you've got adverts on it, you might make $1. So
Wow.
if I upload
Yeah.
a video and get 5,000 views, I may, you know, on a good day, I'll make sort of $5 to $10 off that video. I would say most days. No, I've now been doing this for 7.5 years. I've got over 800 videos. If I don't upload any videos, I make somewhere like £8 a day out of all of my videos. That's like all 800 videos.
Wow.
I will
So
be
you
making.
you really do need to have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands of views per video to make anything like near a living.
Yeah, I think at my level, you know, we said 44,000 subscribers. It's not enough to make a living at all.
I've got 6 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So
Yeah, you can't monetize with that, as far as I'm aware.
you know, so I'm rolling in it, you know.
Yeah. No, I think people assume that you make a lot of money from YouTube, and I have to say no. I make enough to cover my costs. That's what I make now. So I don't. All of the stuff I buy for fixing toys is generally paid for in that. But I send, I send out a lot of posts each month. You know, sending people gifts and Toy Polloi badges and things like that, which is all. Post is not cheap. So I probably spend £100 a month on post, just sending things out to be nice to people. You don't make it. I don't think. I'm certainly not for the money. It's not. If I was, I'm doing a terrible job at it.
Well, if Dave's not making any money out of his YouTube channel, then we're all in trouble, aren't we? You know.
Yeah, I think I'm
Indeed.
doing something wrong. I'm doing something wrong, clearly, but I don't make it. I don't make a. Yeah, it's not a living.
For sure. Prezem said, do you sell or donate your doubles, or do you kind of keep everything for future potential repairs?
No, I pass stuff on to people if I know someone is, I've sort of got lots of friends who collect toys and that, and if I know someone is after something and I've got a spare, I'll sort of send it to them. I'm not a big seller of toys. I would rather swap with people just to, get something that I've not got. So quite often, if I finish a video and I've got parts left, within a week someone will have emailed me saying, have you got this? And I'll be like, yeah, and I'll just send it out. So the spares go. I just send them off, because there's no point in me keeping spares for stuff, unless it's Star Wars, of which I always keep Star Wars spares because I've always got things to fix. But again, if people ask for it and I've got it and it's of no use, I'll just pass it on. It's I'd rather other people had it and got use out of it than me hoarding it. Although I do hoard Skeletors, that is a big issue. But there are certain things I'd never get rid of. Skeletors and Imperial things for my Imperial army.
Dave, you like to pass on those reconditioned Star Wars figures to the high-end collectors to really get them going, don't you?
I do. I always recard them and make sure that it's impossible to tell that it's not an original, and make sure, and then send them to get graded as well, just to be doubly sure.
Yeah.
No, I give stuff away. I think the last few, like I've made a few custom snow speeders, in videos. I don't have any of them. I think one of them is in South Korea now, because a friend of mine lives out there and he wanted it, so that went over there. I think I don't have any of them. Like, a lot of the custom stuff I give away. So it's very. I'd rather other people had them and enjoyed them than me sort of hoarding stuff.
You're a generous man, Dave. You're a generous man.
I want to say, I thought I was making light track here. I thought I was going to say we're catching up, but we're at 10 to 9.
I just don't think we're ever going to catch. We're not ever going to catch up with them.
Yes. Sorry, guys.
I'm good. I'm going to kind of flick through what I'm trying to do. Obviously, there are some questions. There's some I'm going to have to miss, because, like you said, there's quite. Just quickly, Alan's asked, what's the weirdest toy in your collection?
Oh, I do like these Henshin cyborgs and stuff. They're pretty weird, just because they're sort of strange things. I don't know. Weirdest thing. I've got a Cylon head radio. That's a weird one. It's not really a toy. If I can get this out without knocking everything over. Oh, which I can't. as I say, I'm a big Battlestar Galactica fan. So I have a Cylon head radio,
Oh,
Wow.
which
very cool.
it's only an AM radio, so you can't even tune it in. But it's just a weird thing. I quite like the look of it. It's
What would that
absolutely
be?
gorgeous.
What era would that be from, Dave? When did you get that? The 80s?
Well, it was made in 1979, so it's
Oh,
really
wow.
old. But I've got a real thing for Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers. So I've got a sort of huge collection of oddities. So I've got this. I think I've also got like Battlestar Galactica Silly Putty, like the thing in its egg. I've still got that on its card, and I've got some Cylon sunglasses as well, just as a sort of weird oddity.
Wicked stuff. I'm going to apologies to everyone who's watching. Not so much apologies on the technical issues because my internet's been shit, but so much I've kind of I am skipping over some comments because otherwise I'm just never going to catch up, to be honest with you. Vic said, Dave, you should write a book on toy repairs and get it published.
Good idea,
Cole's,
Vic.
yeah, Cole's behind the Toy channel. I remember you trying to fix Talking 60s Action Man and it got frustrating. That's the beauty of your channel. El Tender said Pocket Money series rules. That was one of the things that I kept meaning to do a little video for it. It was quite, considering I'm on YouTube actively, I never ended up getting around to doing a little segment for that, to be honest with you.
I may bring it back. I did 10 episodes of Pocket Money Memories, getting people, thinking it was a good way of getting other people onto the channel and also sort of promoting other people's YouTube channels, which it was. But to be honest, in the end, it was actually so much work putting those together, like getting people to send things in and getting them all done. And it just sort of, it became too much work for me to do, as well as sort of fixing toys and editing other videos. So I sort of put it to one side for the moment. I do want to do some other sort of stuff with other people. In fact, I do want to do a Q&A with Mrs. Toyploy. I think I persuaded her. She has never appeared on my channel, but loads of people want to see her and want to sort of ask her questions. So I'm sort of working on that at the moment and getting a few questions in for her. And so she may appear at some point. So people will see the very elusive Mrs. Toyploy. I think you may have seen her hands a couple of times doing a bit of sewing, but otherwise.
Do you not do the sewing, Dave? Do you not do? Because I was really impressed with your sewing skills.
I do sewing, yeah, but sometimes her sewing is considerably better than mine. I'm a real bodger of sewing stuff. But
how does she feel? How does she feel being married to a god, Dave? What's she like about that?
I don't think she would have the same opinion of me that you do.
I actually done a Q&A with my wife. Oh, this was about 6 months ago, and I asked everyone on Facebook and Instagram to send some questions over. We did it, and she looked back at it and she went, "Yeah, no, that's not going on YouTube." And I was like, "Oh, we've just done this like an hour." Yeah, she didn't want it. She was like, "No, I'm not happy with that." She weren't happy with her answers because she was a bit unsure. No, like it was all 80s themed and that.
I think that's the thing. If you watch my first videos, like speaking on camera and doing stuff, it is actually quite hard work. And so if you're not used to it and not used to chatting and you feel like you come across a bit weird, but after 7 years of doing this, you get quite used to talking and sort of chatting and stuff. So I have persuaded her, so I think we will do some screen tests and you may get to see her at some point. So that might be a future video, but Pocket Money Memories may come back. I'm having to think about it, but it was a lot of work to do them, more than I thought it would be.
Good stuff. Now, Dave, I'm gonna go through these questions. You don't have to go into too much depth. You could just briefly say yay, nay, and if it's a yes, and give a quick answer. So Prezem's asked, do you fix anything around the house, or is it just toys that you kind of fix?
No, I do a lot of DIY stuff and general things. So yes.
Good stuff. Retro Revival has said, what's on top of Dave's toy wish list?
Oh.
It's a tough one.
Do you know what? It's the last Advanced Dungeons and Dragons shield shooter Ogre King, which the sort of orange, well, no, it's bright green guy. I had him as a kid, absolutely loved him. I've got him, but I have none of his weapons. I have none of his weapons.
Yeah.
I want to complete this figure. He's the later version, so he's got Battlematic action that sort of makes his arm move. That is a figure I had as a kid, loved him, and I would love to finish this, but it's one of those, it's too expensive. I'm never going to pay the money that people ask for him. So he is my top grail at the moment. But if I finish it, I very much doubt, you know.
I thought Dave that the '90s Action Man would be on that list somewhere.
Yeah, give it another 20 years when it's become a collectible.
Steve has asked if Lego ever complained about the use of their product.
No, and I've even sent them my video saying you should sponsor me, and I never heard anything back from them. So I don't know what that means.
Good stuff. Michael John Wilkes, Dave, could you give a shout out to my son Lincoln?
Hi, Lincoln.
Thanks for having your eyes and ears. Vic has said that you should start a Kickstarter to get your repair book going.
I may have to chat with the guys at Fusion who I write for each month. I write toy articles for them, so maybe they would be inclined to do.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
I'll chat with them, seeing as people are asking.
Good stuff. Now we've just caught up with all the comments about.
Wow.
No, wait. We haven't caught up with the comments. We've caught up with the comments of everyone slating off my technical difficulties.
All right. Right.
So we're still about 30 minutes behind. Presem saying Team Toy Polloi t-shirts. You can get t-shirts, Dave, can't you? Is it through your YouTube channel?
Yeah, if you're on my YouTube channel, you can go. There's always a link underneath, and you can buy Toy Polloi t-shirts. They don't say Team Toy Polloi, but I've got a few different designs. A nice one that says Fiddly Bits on it. If particularly want to walk around with a t-shirt that says Fiddly Bits, I personally wouldn't advise it. But
he wears the classic Hamish fanboy. Look, says he wears his with pride. Kristen Abbott has said, is there any variant of Skeletor that you're missing from the army? And do you think you'll get to a number where you won't add any more? So you're about 35, you said, didn't you?
35, 40. To be honest, I only really collect this version of Skeletor in the Battle Armor version. I've got a couple of Dragon Blasters, and I think I've got one Terraclaws, but it's really this sort of classic original one that is the one I go for. Although, as you saw, I do have Laser Light Skeletor, so he will get worked on. But yeah, I'm not. It's not all of them I like. It is just him for some reason, this version. So yeah, there's many versions I don't have.
Good stuff. Lucy's here. She said, "Sorry, later, Rival. What have I missed? You've missed much.
My Lucy there.
You've missed so much.
You'll have to watch again.
You will have to watch it back. Yeah, Timothy Ward. When you first started your YouTube channel, did you ever worry about keeping your identity confidential, or are you not too fussed about that?
I still try to keep generally myself a little bit away from things. I don't think many people know my full name. I try to keep it just as Dave Toy Polloi, and I'm still quite cagey about who I give my address to for posting stuff to. So yeah, I don't take part in many things like this or chat on that many Facebook groups anymore, just because there's a lot of
crazed fans.
Not crazy. No, there's a lot of negativity towards me in certain groups, and a lot of positivity. I say far more positivity in other groups, but it just gets a bit overwhelming. As I say, it is only me here, so the amount of messages I get each day that I try and write back to everybody. It's some days is a bit like, I do have a job to do as well as doing this and filming videos, so I still try and keep myself a little bit separate from from Toy Polloi.
Good stuff. Scott said, "Love the ingenious fixes you do, Dave. The option I had when I was young was my dad and a bottle of super glue."
Yeah, I think that's most people's options. Yeah.
Your guys just popped up in the building.
Thomas Emery, the delivery man.
Sorry for the late entry. He's been busy. How's your weekend been? Very good. Thank you very much.
Good.
Lee's asked Dave, how would Dave go about de-yellowing a large item such as a ship that can't be fully submerged in hydrogen peroxide?
To be honest, these days I tend to leave them. I don't de-yellow that much stuff anymore. I still do the odd thing, but I've sort of, if you watch my channel a lot, I class myself as a wabby-sabby toy collector, just accepting the imperfections. So I don't, if it's a big thing, I will just leave it. If you want to do a big thing, buy a big tub and buy a lot of hydrogen peroxide. There's a guy who runs a channel called 8-Bit Guy. I think he's called 8-Bit Guy, who does computers, and he quite often puts whole computers in big boxes, and it works a treat. But for me, I'm getting more sort of, if it's yellow, it's yellow. I don't really care. I like it's just part of the toy story these days.
As people are asking for a bit of advice, can I just stop the comments a minute, Tom?
Yeah,
Dave, obviously, I've got a G.I. Joe Action Man from the early 90s here. Do you have any advice about what to do about about this? he doesn't see. He doesn't stand up. He simply he simply falls forward. Do you have any advice? It's like the midsection's gone.
Yeah, I'd say buy a vehicle and sit him in it, and then get another one so you can stand up.
Yeah, he, as you can see, look, it's really worrying. I mean, he wants to walk around like that.
That's a bit of a floppy one. Yeah. I'm going to say PTFE tape, wrap it round his leg joints.
Yeah, just stiffen him up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Give him a bit of vigor.
I mean, I wouldn't like to say what's been happening, but that's the position he tends to want to be in.
I thought Big C, that was meant to be a giveaway at one point.
I was going to do it as a giveaway, Dave, but I don't think I'm going to be able to give that away, am I?
Yeah, no one wants it.
To be fair,
get a vehicle and sit him in it, because then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's very crusty as well. Don't even want to touch him really. But there we go.
Michael can't wait to see the Ram Man video you got coming.
Yeah, few months, mate.
Few months.
Time Tunnel Toys.
Time Tunnel. How you doing? Nice to see Dave on. B Retro Gamer said he's going to get a Ram Man on eBay now.
Yeah, quick. Grab
you start a craze now. Yeah, definitely.
Here, look, I already bought a couple of Ram Man figures just in case. I own the original designer's sketchbook for the Action Man Solar Hurricane. We'll have to send Dave some pics.
Oh, brilliant! Yes, thanks. That's Joe. I know Joe quite well. I meet him at toy fairs. I know.
I know.
I know Joe. He's another big Action Man collector. So yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. It'd be lovely.
I'm proudly responsible for sending Dave the Action Man that beat him. That's what I do.
You are indeed. Thank you. I do remember.
YouTube makes a lot of money.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think YouTube makes far more out of the adverts than I do, certainly.
Aaron's here. Hello,
Evening, Aaron. How you doing? Jason. Oh, Jason was there from the beginning.
Jason, he's one of my men there. Look, I've got my own fan club now, Tom. I'm starting to form my own little.
Dave, do you have any Brave Star toys? Michael's asked.
No, do you know what? No, I picked a couple up at a toy fair a couple of years ago. I think you even saw me in a video picking these things up. And I said to the guy, how much did he want for them? And I just thought he was asking too much. So I put them back down. They were only like $5 each, but I was just being a real tight sort of toy buyer that time. I'm not having that. So potentially I should get some, because they are quite nice toys. I was very tempted, but $5 each. I think I'd already spent quite a lot, and I was just like, oh no, I'm not having that.
Man, those mucky mates. He wants to see a guest who has a mega expensive mint rare toys, but they sleep on their mum's mattress in the spare room.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people like that. I think there's definitely a lot of people like that.
Do you have an Auto Man in your collection?
I do. Yes. Yeah, he's on a shelf over there. I've done a video on him, so yeah, I do have Automan. In fact, I wrote an article for the magazine that I write for about Automan a couple of issues ago, because he's such a cool. It's such a weird show, and they've only made a couple of toys for it. So yeah, I do have Automan. He cost me 50p.
Oh, bargain. Mr. King has asked, is Dave missing going to the toy fairs, or are you able to pick up toys elsewhere currently?
No, I massively miss going to them. I miss those. I miss looking in charity shops. I like rummaging for toys more than buying stuff, because when you're rummaging, you just come across odd things, and that's what I like. It's those little odd things that sort of spark something, or give you a memory. If I'm searching on eBay, I'm very generally searching for some very specific things that I already know. Things I know I want. Whereas at toy fairs and charity shops, you find the stuff you don't know you want.
Yeah,
and that's the best stuff.
That's the thing with eBay. It's all driven by what you put into it to what you're going to see. Yeah.
When a book is published, it should come with an O-ring, some paint, plastic world, and a broken toy to practice his techniques on.
Yeah,
good idea.
We have actually caught. I've just near enough caught up. El Tender was in one of your pocket money episodes. He said it was fun.
Yeah.
What the buck? Mr. King has said, have you watched The Mandalorian? If you have, what do you think of it?
Do you know what? No, I haven't watched it. I'm one of these Star Wars people. I moaned earlier about many Star Wars people. I think there are only 3 Star Wars movies, the original 3 Star Wars movies, and everything I've watched since then has sort of slowly ruined my childhood memories of Star Wars. So I did watch the prequel trilogy, and it ruined Star Wars. And I did watch the new trilogy, and it ruined Star Wars a bit more. And I think that was my fill of it. I just thought, I'm not watching it. So I've not watched the Solo movie. I did watch Rogue One and was
I've not watched
bitterly
any of them.
disappointed. And
Yeah.
and sort of given up just because I'm sure they're great and I'm sure people love them. But I have a memory of Star Wars, and that is what I want Star Wars to be. So I've sort of stopped with it, and I don't buy the stuffed toys from them or anything.
I did like Revenge of the Sith though.
I thought that was the worst one. I
Well,
absolutely hate it.
no, I think I just like the way the last half hour, 40 minutes just sewed everything up. It
Do you know what?
connected everything together. I did like that bit.
It was one of those films. I watched episode 1, and I hated Jar Jar Binks, just because of what it was. And then episode 2 and 3. Episode 2 and 3 then went on to say, well, Jar Jar Binks is not awful enough. Let's ruin R2D2 and C3PO.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. Because R2 and C3PO were great characters, and then they just, I don't know, just turned them into a comedy sort of double act of awfulness. And I think it was a slippery slope for my enjoyment of Star Wars. I can see why other people like them, but for my enjoyment, there are 3 movies that I grew up with and that I have vivid ideas about what went on after Star Wars, and that's not it. So
Yeah.
I'd rather not ruin the memories of my childhood.
I quite like The Mandalorian. Obviously, I'm not a huge... I like the original 3 Star Wars movies as well, but I actually really enjoyed The Mandalorian. I'm not a fan of some of the newer stuff, the Disney stuff and that, if I'm honest, but Mandalorian I found quite good. I think we should announce the winners. I completely forgot about that. I did have that written down. What was the answer, Dave, to your first question?
The first question was, what do I do when I clean figures? And of course, I use hot soapy water. That's
indeed
the simple answer.
And we got about 6 or 7 people got it right. There was quite a few answers, but 6 or 7 people got it right. Smuggler's Canyon was the winner.
One of the channel regulars.
One of the channel regulars, yeah. And congratulations. And your second question was,
what's the name of this guy, which is a sort of a broken action man, and his name is Pinhead, because basically at some point some kid has pushed pins into his cheeks and his ears. He's got holes, so I call him Pinhead.
And we had several correct answers on that. And the first person was I think it's the 80s classic fanboy. I'm presuming it's a he. I read it down as the classic 80s fanboy. Yeah. So
yeah, I think that is right.
The classic 80s fanboy. Yeah, that was correct. Yeah, they've commented quite a lot on the channel. So. Cool. Them 2, Smuggler's Canyon and the 80s and the classic 80s fanboy, please message me on either Instagram. Yep, congratulations. Message me on either Instagram or Facebook.
I'll chuck some toy Polloi badges and bits your way as well, which you can pass on to them so they can get a few bits, as well as the figures. They'll have some toy Polloi stuff.
Yep, excellent. I was just about to say that I'll wait for your little parcel to come, and so it'll probably be next week, guys, that I send them out, but. Message me. Smuggler's Canyon's on my Instagram anyway, so just DM me your address. The classic 80s fanboy, I'm not entirely sure who that is, but message me on Instagram or Pizarro's Pieces Facebook page, and congratulations to you two. Now, we're gonna start finishing up the show, but I need to ask you, Dave, have you got handy a pen and paper?
Do you know what? I'm not prepared this week. Let me go and run and get the pen quickly.
I just have to have a toy Polloi notepad.
You do. You have a toy Polloi notepad. So if you we do this every week with Big C. We put him against the guest with regards to the guests more of this in regards to what they're into, because I like to see Big C get embarrassed. It's only 6 questions. Questions. So just do 1 to 6 so that I can see them quite visibly.
Okay.
Are you back?
I'm back. I hope you're ready, Dave.
I decide this. Big C originally said about mixing it up and doing maybe a Buck Rogers or a Battlestar Galactica one, but I feel so sorry for him. I wanted to give him
I get beaten every week, Dave. I get beaten every week.
You might win this week. I'm not that great on stuff.
No. This is. You know what, Big C, you might get a couple of these right. This is just 6 Star Wars questions, relatively simple, no multiple choice. So just answer. So question 1: how old was Yoda when he died? How old was Yoda when he died?
Okay.
You got that?
Yeah.
Question two. Luke Skywalker was raised on which planet? Luke Skywalker was raised on which planet?
It's the spelling that I'm going to struggle with.
Yeah,
It's
same
all right.
here.
I can if you half know it, then I'll be able to gauge from
Yeah.
your answers. Question three. What does AT stand for? ATAT. What does ATAT stand for? AT.
Well, you're going to have to wait a long time while I write that one down.
Big C's just thinking, what can I write for this?
I want to write something. I don't know the answer, so I want to write something funny, but I can't make the words work.
Well,
for me.
obviously, you know what the AT is, don't you? It's the vehicle. One of the vehicles, yeah? The big one with the 4 feet. I think. Is that right?
I think the best I'm going to get with that one, Tom, is no comment.
Question 4. Who built C-3PO? Has my internet been a bit better since I came downstairs? Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Question.
I briefly had to take over the show, Tom. I was the host for about
he was
a minute.
he was very good.
Thanks,
big up
Dave.
Big C. Big up Big C for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I held it together.
Question 5. Which order brought about? Oh, what have I written? Brought about the death of the Jedi. That's it. Which order brought about the death of the Jedi?
These are all questions from the movies that I don't like.
I
But I do know the answers.
I think I know. I think I know that one.
Do you? You write it down, and if you know, this is an easy one that you should both get. The last question: who composed the iconic Star Wars theme? I like to give Big C a little bit of a chance because he kind of gets ruined a lot of the time, doesn't he?
He needs to watch more movies or TV.
He does.
Trouble is, Dave, my forte, my big collection, toy collecting forte, and what I'm in is old school wrestling, 80s and 90s wrestling. That's what my background is.
I would know nothing. A lot of people ask me to fix those. I know nothing about them apart from Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
The classic.
So have we got our 6 answers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on then, put them up against
this is
the
where
screen
I get laughed at, though. This is where I get laughed at.
Right, we've got 6 out of 6. What's that say at the top?
11E4. 11E4. I just don't know the name.
John Hughes.
So I made up John Hughes.
Who's John Hughes?
I don't know. Who's John Hughes?
Well, Toy Polloi got 6 out of 6.
Who is it? John? Was it John Hughes?
You've got 3. To be fair, you've got 3. No, it's John Williams.
John Hughes directed like
Who's
Home
John
Alone
Hughes,
and that.
a politician?
Didn't John Hughes direct Home Alone and stuff?
Yeah, he's a director, John Hughes. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. I knew it was John something, and I've got it wrong.
But
that normally happens.
Big C, you did get 3.
Yeah, so was it Order 66?
You got
it was Order 66.
Anakin, correct? Order 66. Order 66. Yeah.
Order 66, and Anakin
correct.
and Tatooine, I suppose.
You done well. You done pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't get I got destroyed though still by Dave, but I'll give it a go. Here we go.
Good stuff. Smugglers Canyon sound amazing. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Classic 80s fanboys. Yes, it is. I sent you the Felt Gizmo magazine with the Christmas hat. I'm trying to remember that now. I do half remember that, to be honest with you. I'm going to have to message me anyway on... Nick says he reckons he got all 6. Dark Lycan has said, awesome live stream. Thank you very much. Steve Gilmore, thanks, guys. It's been brilliant. Big Toy Polloi fan. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for watching. Now, I'm not going to go back to the comments. I do want to... Hopefully, I can go back into my toy room without my Wi-Fi disappearing. Because I do have a present for you, Mr. Toy Polloi.
There you go. Look.
As a thank you for coming on the show, but also more importantly for me on a personal level, as a thank you for helping out with the YouTube channel.
That's all right.
When I first
always nice to try. Like once you get to a certain size, it's always nice to try and help other people get onto YouTube, and I do my best to encourage other people to have a go because it's fun. So I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad you're still doing it.
Dave, we're like pieces of bacteria compared to you, so thank you for giving us the time of day. We're small fry.
As I said earlier before we started, I'm just a normal middle-aged man sitting in a room fixing toys. There is nothing.
You'll never get me to believe that, Dave. You'll never get me to believe that.
when we meet up in the flesh, next time I'm up London way, we'll meet up, and you'll see
Yeah.
I'm just normal, a normal everyday chap.
You can come to one of the shows and we'll meet up. So I'm hoping what I'm about to show. I'm hoping you haven't got. I know you've done reviews on certain ones. If you have, I've got a backup plan. If you do tell me, but a Masters of the Universe Origin Orco figure.
I do not have an Orco. No, that is great. And I was actually thinking about Orco earlier. I picked one up out of the loft, so that's fantastic. Yes, lovely,
there
amazing.
You go.
Yeah,
Happy days. I know you're kind of enjoying the Origins line. I know it's modern and they're a bit breaky, but obviously you've been doing reviews on them, so it's quite an easy figure to review, relatively small. And I don't think he's going to break. He's not really got many joints or anything.
He's like a solid piece of plastic, isn't he?
I'll give it my best shot. I'm sure I can break it, seeing as I seem to have broken the other ones. I will review him as well, so you'll see him on the channel at some point.
Excellent stuff. Like,
brilliant.
let's get this banner off. Dave, obviously, I want to say a massive thank you for coming on. It's been a real pleasure having you on. To everyone who's watched, apologies for my technical glitch. I had a bit of a Wi-Fi blowout. It seems to have got better now. But yeah, a massive thank you for taking 2 hours out of your evening with us. You've been fantastic.
This is the first live stream I've ever sort of taken part in, so it's good fun to do it with people like you guys.
We like to ask the guests as well. Would you come back one day, Dave? Would you come back with us one day?
Well, it sounds, judging by the amount of questions you got, it sounds like I probably should. It sounds like you've got a lot of people already asking questions. So let's do it again. Yeah,
brilliant. It's been a pleasure, Dave. I really appreciated it.
Definitely. So for everyone watching, obviously everyone who's watching on YouTube, I know a lot of your fans, Dave, from the channel have come over to watch. So I appreciate that. So if you're watching, consider subscribing to the channel. Obviously, don't forget as well, guys, give us a like. Your comments and your feedback have been fantastic tonight. Really appreciate it. It's always been really good fun. So as I mentioned, next week we have got Scott's Comics and Collectibles. Now, I was going to quickly, if you just bear with me, let me lift my iPad up. I was going to give you guys a preview of what we're going to be giving away next week. And the reason I say Scott may be a little bit peed off is because I know he is collecting these. So I do have here 2 carded Bucky O'Hare figures. We have, what's this one called? Toadborg and Al Negator. And they are courtesy of Colin Wicks. So I want to say big thank you to Colin, because they came in a package that Colin sent the other week. So they're going to be the 2 prizes next week. We'll probably do something themed around Scott. So if you ain't following Scott's Comics and Collectibles, be sure to go check his channel out. For sure, he is our guest next week. What's the date next week? 22nd, I want to say. Yeah, 22nd, Monday the 22nd. So once again, a massive thank you to Dave from Toy Polloi.
Thanks, Dave.
He's been absolutely fantastic. And guys, everyone who's watching, thanks for watching. And we'll all see you next week.
See you later, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.